I was 11 years old, I came home from school one day and I wrote a letter to President Reagan. I don't actually think that's him reading my letter, but it's possible. I wrote a letter to him because I was terrified of nuclear war. And maybe like many of you, as I grew up, every year of my life, I learned more and more about the nightmare of what we have done to each other. And so every year of my life, I believed less and less that the world ever could be and ever was a loving place, until that hope became so small it was like a lost coin in my pocket. Since I was a teenager, I wanted to be a rabbi. I wanted to be close with people on the very best and sometimes the very worst days of their lives. And when I was 29, I was the first person ordained a humanistic rabbi, an achievement recognized in the New York Times. And I actually became the rabbi in the very temple where I grew up, which was a dream come true. Except, as life happens, in my 40s, I had a spiritual and professional crisis of epic proportion. It wasn't a nuclear war, but have you ever felt like your life has just been decimated? I resigned my pulpit and I went in search of God. And in searching for Him, I found her, the feminine divine. I wrote a book called Oranges for Eve, my brave, beautiful, badass journey to the feminine divine. And what I discovered in my research is the thesis of what I have come here to talk to you about today. Beginning in the 1920s with the opening of King Tut's tomb, there has been an explosion of archaeological evidence. Places that were buried for thousands of years are now open for us to see. And the most mind-blowing, game-changing, and soul-nourishing of them all is a city called Catal Hayuk. Catal Hayuk is located in modern-day Turkey, but this might be what it looked like some 9,000 years ago. Catal Hayuk had 10,000 people, which made it the second largest city only to Jericho. So what did scientists discover there? They restored their homes, and they found a society of abundance and joy. The people in Catal Hayuk ate a balanced diet, they had deep interpersonal relationships, and they celebrated their festivals with joy. Catal Hayuk was also a sensitive place. When a person died in Catal Hayuk, they were folded back and buried in the fetal position. I am a rabbi and I have presided at hundreds of burials. When I saw this image, it took my breath away. It was so natural. And while all of this is incredible, what is most incredible is what was not found at Catal Hayuk. Weapons, evidence of traumatic death, war. The people of Catal Hayuk lived for 1,800 years in peace, or as Stanford professor Ian Hodder estimates, up to 4,000 years of peace. Catal Hayuk was a city of love. How did they do that? They believed in the feminine divine. Here is one of the hundreds of artifacts that have been found at Catal Hayuk. She is called the Seated Mother. Now, when I first saw this image, all I saw were her folds and curves and rumps. I did not think she looked divine, and I struggled with her for months. This is God? She looked like all the parts of me that I try so hard every day not to reject. And then one day it occurred to me, the people of Catal Hayuk did not hate their bodies. Imagine a world in which the body of every woman is sacred and divine. Imagine a world in which you do not have to work so hard to love yourself. Imagine a world of inherent love. What is that? You were born. Therefore, you are lovable. You cannot earn love. You cannot lose love. Love is your birthright inherently. So let's define the feminine divine for a moment. Think of the feminine divine not as a person, not as female, but as energy with certain qualities. The healer, the nourisher, the compassionate, the soft but fierce. The feminine divine is the energy within you and all around you that supports life. Here are a few more examples of the thousands of artifacts that have been discovered from France to the Pyrenees to Siberia. They are all female form. You're looking at the oldest art in the world, some 30,000 years old, and I believe there's more out there to be discovered and more examples of prehistoric loving societies. Why? Because love is normal. Hate is abnormal. Love is our baseline. Just ask any baby. So how can you bring more of that feminine, divine, peaceful, loving energy into your life? I'm going to give you two effective ways. The first, elevate wonderful women. If you meet a wonderful woman in your workplace, promote her. If you meet a wonderful woman in your school, encourage her. In your government, back her. In your home, honor her. Elevate her. My son Lior, who is here, really took this to heart. He turned 18 when he was a senior in high school, and he went to vote in the midterm election. And when he came home, he said so proudly, "Mom, I really didn't know who anyone was, so I just filled in the circle next to all the women's names." How can you bring more of the feminine divine into your life? Mother yourself. Here is a very simple exercise. Do it with me, and you can have it for the rest of your life. Take your right hand, place it over your heart. Take your left and place it over your right and apply some gentle but firm pressure. And send these, which are the most 5 divine words in all the world, deep into your soul. Thank you for being born. All around us, the world is awakening in disruption. We are demanding, the most courageous of us, for something else. Why can't that something else be a more loving world? We are only limited by our imagination and the stories we tell ourselves. That 11-year-old girl that I began to tell you about, she still lives in me. And sometimes she gets scared because she knows that it is very possible that nothing in the world will get any better, and that in fact things might get worse. But then on behalf of all children in the world, I remind her of the people of Catal Hayuk, the city of love. And I tell her there is great reason for hope, because the feminine divine was always here, and she is alive and well and living in men and women and people all over the world. And I take that small lost coin out of my pocket, because now every year of my life, I believe more and more that we are not only capable of great love, but that great love is our most determined destiny. Thank you for being born.